Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Dazzlingly red fresh blood spurted out from the bases of the severed middle finger, ring finger, and little finger. The emperor, Li Yunzheng, had never wielded a real blade before. Everything in the palace was under someone's control, after all. Throughout his life, for more than a decade, he was no different from a puppet. If it were not for Wang Shizhong, he would not even have the opportunity to touch one. He did not even have the chance to kill himself, let alone having access to these killing tools. Moreover, it had always been peaceful in the palace. At this moment, Li Yunzheng's body was trembling. A hint of terror could be seen in his eyes as terror rose in his heart. He had thought about this countless times in his mind, often with much more tragic outcomes. He had fantasized about beheading eunuch Gao and kicking his severed head like a ball. He could almost feel the satisfaction from it. However, now that he managed to hurt eunuch Gao, he was flustered. At the same time, several consequences appeared in his head. What should I do? Li Yunzheng took a step back absent-mindedly. Gao Xuan merely cried out briefly when his fingers were severed before he quickly pressed down on his wounds. Hatred and killing intent flashed in his eyes as he pursed his lips. He really wanted to smash Li Yunzheng's head with a palm strike. Alas, he knew that was impossible. Even if Li Yunzheng was just a puppet emperor, there were many powerful supporters behind this puppet. Wang Shizhong was aware of this fact as well. Apart from a slight hint of shock in the eyes, his expressions did not betray his emotions. At the end of the day, Gao Xuan was only a eunuch. Apart from being able to control some people in the palace, he did not have much value. Moreover, even if he died, it would not be difficult to find a replacement. Gao Xuan was aware that he was not irreplaceable as well. Since he could retaliate, he could only endure. He had to endure. After a brief moment, he wiped away the sweat on his face before he fell to his knees and said through gritted teeth, "I have committed a mistake. Please stay your anger, Your Majesty." Li Yunzheng. Li Yunzheng did not expect Gao Xuan would be able to endure this even after losing 3 fingers. On the other hand, Wang Shizhong and the others were not surprised. When Wang Shizhong turned to look at Lu Zhou, he discovered Lu Zhou was calm. He could not help but wonder what was the source of the old man's confidence. The old man was even bold enough to challenge the great Tang's royal court. When Li Yunzheng finally snapped out of his stupor, he suddenly realized he was not as weak as he had imagined. The saber, the blood, the severed fingers. He no longer found them repulsive. Instead, he felt as though a weight had been removed from his chest. Meanwhile, the eunuchs and palace girls fell to their knees when they regained their senses. "Please stay your anger, Your Majesty." This was the first time Li Yunzheng felt as though he was being accorded the respect befitting an emperor. Is this what the ancient teachers meant in the books? For Li Yunzheng, who never thought much about martial strength before, it was as though realization had just dawned on him. Lu Zhou nodded, pleased. "Did you do your best?" Li Yunzheng shoved his complicated thoughts aside for the moment and said, I did." "No, you didn't." Lu Zhou slowly rose to his feet before he placed his hands on his back. Then, he looked at Li Yunzheng and said in a firm and forceful tone, "Think about my question again. There's no need to rush. Take your time." Li Yunzheng felt slightly nervous and scared when he was asked the same question. He looked at kneeling Gao Xuan and discovered he had no sympathy for the eunuch. This was the very eunuch who made his life in the palace miserable, after all. Then, he shifted his gaze to the palace girls and other eunuchs who seemed meek and helpless at this moment. To outsiders, these servants truly seemed pitiful. However, he alone knew how fake and treacherous they were. If the circumstances allowed it, he had no doubt they would rise to their feet and continue to mock him. While Li Yunzheng was lost in his thoughts, Wang Shizhong said tonelessly, "Your Majesty, the sun and moon can stand witness to eunuch Gao's loyalty. Since he has lost 3 fingers, and considering his many years of service to you, won't you pity him and forgive him? At the very least, he deserves credit for all his efforts." Li Yunzheng turned to look at Wang Shizhong and asked, "Who will pity me then?" "Your Majesty, are you saying there are other sins that eunuch Gao has committed that we don't know about? Wang Shizhong wondered. You know what I'm talking about. I thought that we should give eunuch Gao a chance to defend himself, Wang Shizhong said. Gao Xuan hastily said, I have no complaint if His Majesty intends to punish me for my sins, but as a monarch, the punishment must fit the crime. When Li Yunzheng heard Wang Shizhong's words that seemed to side with Gao Xuan, flames of fury that burned away his fear and uncertainties rose in his heart. He inhaled deeply. As the ruler of an empire, he had to conduct himself in a suitable manner. Then, he asked with a cold gaze and a calm heart, Gao Xuan, you're well versed in the laws of Great Tang. Tell me, what should your punishment be? Gao Xuan. Disrespect is one of the 10 abominations. How should you be punished? For lusting over silver, abusing the law, and unlawful killing of palace girls and eunuchs. What do you think the punishment should be like? You seem to think you have the right to do what you did earlier. The empire has its laws, and you have no right to kill people of the palace as you please. Answer me, Li Yunzheng asked 3 questions consecutively, clearly confident. Gao Xuan frowned. He blurted, You. Li Yunzheng mustered up his courage and moved to stand in front of Gao Xuan. You dare to address your emperor in such a manner? Do you want to kill your emperor? Wang Shizhong, Wang Shu, the soldiers, the Sky Marshal court disciples, the eunuchs, and the palace girls seemed baffled by Li Yunzheng. The young emperor has lost it today. Even if Gao Xuan was given all the courage in the world, he would not dare kill the emperor, at least not openly. Li Yunzheng stepped forward and looked down at Gao Xuan, forcing Gao Xuan back. Colors drained from Gao Xuan's face as he fell to the ground. At this moment, Li Yunzheng realized he was much more powerful than he had imagined. This bolstered his confidence more. He said in a low voice, I shall sentence you to death. Will you accept this? Enough. Gao Xuan snapped suddenly in his sharp voice as he narrowed his voice. His voice was brimming with contempt and fury. Are you going to kill me, Your Majesty? Are you going to revolt? Li Yunzheng did not back down. I have no such intentions, but I can't accept this. Gao Xuan raised his hand that only had 2 fingers left after he tore a strip of cloth off his shirt and bound his hand. Then, he slowly rose to his feet before he said, Your Majesty, I'm not afraid of death. However, if I die, I'm afraid chaos will descend on the palace. At that time, I'm sure there will be casualties as well. Lu Zhou clapped his hands when Gao Xuan finished speaking. He interjected, It seems like Great Tang, servants are bold enough to threaten their emperor. My horizons have widened today. Gao Xuan retorted, This is a matter of the palace. It has nothing to do with you. The master and the servant each have their own place. As the servant, you can't even fulfill your own duty, and you even dare to behave audaciously? Lu Zhou asked. Even so, I won't allow myself to be questioned by outsiders, Gao Xuan said. Lu Zhou stepped forward and moved to Li Yunzheng's side. He said in a calm and stern tone, How am I an outsider when this matter concerns my grand disciple? Grand disciple? Gao Xuan and the others were shocked. Even Li Yunzheng seemed confused. Wang Shizhong scowled. He reacted quickly and slammed the table. Smack. Gao Xuan, for your impudent acts of revolting, His Majesty has sentenced you to death, and yet, you dare quibble? Wang Shizhong said loudly, shocking the others. Lord Wang, what are you? Gao Xuan was perplexed. The ruler and the subjects have their own places. How dare you threaten His Majesty when you can't even fulfill your duties? Wang Shizhong bowed. I request for Gao Xuan to be executed to serve as an example to the others. How dare you? Gao Xuan widened his eyes as he staggered back. At the same time, he erected his protective energy around himself. At this moment, Li Yunzheng said expressionlessly, Cut him down. Yes, Your Majesty. Wang Shizhong moved swiftly with his grand technique and appeared before Gao Xuan. His palm struck Gao Xuan's chest like a blast of lightning. Bam! Gao Shuan reeled back and grunted before he spat out a mouthful of blood. Wang Shizhong pushed away from the ground and appeared at lightning speed above Gao Shuan. Energy formed under his feet before he stomped on Gao Shuan's chest. Boom. Gao Shuan crashed onto the cloud platform, causing the floor to crack. From the beginning until now, he did not even have a chance to manifest his avatar. He was utterly suppressed by Wang Shizhong's speed. Just like that, he stopped breathing. His eyes were still open in death, and his chest had caved in. Everyone was shocked by the sudden turn of events that they temporarily forgot the matter about Li Yunzheng being Lu Zhou's grand disciple. After Wang Shizhong moved away from Gao Shuan's corpse, he bowed again and said, "Your Majesty, these eunuchs and palace girls should be executed as well. Revolting against the monarch is a grave crime. We can't let them off so lightly." "Execute them," Li Yunzheng coldly said before he turned away. "Bring them up to the flying chariot and execute them," Wang Shizhong ordered. Understood. The soldiers carried the eunuchs and palace girls back to the flying chariot. "Have mercy, Your Majesty." Mercy? Some people were not worthy of mercy, especially when they were weak but still dared to act audaciously. Wang Shizhong faced Li Yunzheng and said, "Your Majesty, I have carried out your orders and executed them." "Well done." Li Yunzheng felt much better now. Wang Shizhong returned to his seat. Nay. At this moment, a neigh rang from one of the distant mountains. Yu Shangrong looked in the direction of the noise before he said to his master, "I think Ji Liang is exhausted. Moreover, it seems to be behaving abnormally today. I should go and check on it." Before Lu Zhou could respond to Yu Shangrong, Wang Shu, who was seated next to Wang Shizhong, said, "Father, it's my horse." "It is my horse." Yu Shangrong, who had already risen to his feet, abruptly came to a stop when he heard these words. He turned to look at Wang Shu and said, "Your horse?" Wang Shizhong was worried that his daughter would misspeak, so he quickly raised his hand and glared at her. When he turned to face the others, a smile appeared on his face as he cupped his fists together and said, "Please don't misunderstand, sir. Wild horses are difficult to tame. It must have escaped here from somewhere else. Since Cloud Mountain has tamed it, consider it a gift." A gift? The words were rather unpleasant to listen to. Lu Zhou could not care less about Wang Shizhong's words, he only took it as a joke. However, Yu Shangrong was greatly displeased by these words. Put aside the fact that his master was Ji Liang's true owner, Ji Liang had helped him tremendously since their first encounter. Moreover, it was not an exaggeration to say Ji Liang had given him a new lease on life. He viewed Ji Liang as his comrade, a friend in life and in death. How could he not feel displeased when someone else insinuated they owned Ji Liang? How could he allow this? Yu Shangrong turned around slowly to face Wang Shizhong. The usually polite expression on his face had vanished as he said, "Can you repeat your words?" Wang Shizhong could, naturally, hear Yu Shangrong's words that were rife with hostility. He said, "If I'd misspoken, I'd like to ask for your forgiveness, sir." Lu Zhou raised his hand. He looked at Wang Shu, who was seated next to Wang Shizhong, with a piercing gaze as he asked, "The horse's name is Ji Liang." "It's my mount." "Since when did it become your horse?" "It's my horse first. I went through great trouble to tame it, but this cursed livestock escaped," Wang Shu said indignantly. "Forget it. I don't care anymore. You can have it." Wang Shizhong cupped his fists together and said, "This is a misunderstanding. It's only a horse. Why don't we consider this matter resolved?" "So, you're the one who harmed my horse." Lu Zhou had been looking for the culprits who inflicted those injuries on Ji Liang. He did not expect the culprit to show up at his doorstep. Zhenghai said, "This horse is my master's mount. There's no need for you to give it to us. Ji Liang is a wonderful steed among a million steeds. It's blessed with intelligence. It only answers to my master. I'm guessing you wanted to claim it for your own and captured it when it was distracted and attempted to tame it, am I right?" Wang Shu was shocked. Meanwhile, Wang Shizhong's expression changed slightly. However, he did not say anything. Little Yuan placed her hands on her hips and said, "You're shameless. Ji Liang has been with my master for a long time. How dare you say it's a gift? Don't you feel embarrassed? You're a man, but why do you apply rouge and powder on your face? I'm going to vomit just from looking at your face." Wang Shu. It seems like the saying about women being nemesis of women was true. Wang Shu swiftly removed her cap, allowing her long hair to cascade down her back. As her long hair fluttered in the wind, she said with slight contempt, "I'm Wang Shu? Who's a man? This is even more revolting. You're a woman, but you dressed up as a man. I'm really going to throw up." Little Yuan gestured as though she was going to vomit. "You." Wang Shizhong turned around and said, "Shu, shut up." Wang Shu sat back down with an extremely aggrieved and discontented expression on her face. Perhaps, the children of the officials were all spoiled and lacking in discipline. They usually relied on their fathers, which certainly did not help with developing their intelligence. Most of them assumed their fathers would be able to solve all their problems. Naturally, Wang Shizhong wanted to protect and stand up for his daughter. However, the times were different. In any case, she should have known when to behave. Hence, he hastily cupped his fists together and said, "It's all a misunderstanding. My daughter is young and immature. She had no idea the horse belonged to Senior Lu. I hope you'll forgive her if she had unknowingly offended you." Lu Zhou called out in an even tone, "Ji Liang." His voice that was laced with primal qi quickly spread out. As soon as Ji Liang heard Lu Zhou summoning it, it flew and sped toward the cloud platform. Nia Qingyun, Xia Chengxiu, and the others were shocked as they looked at the handsome steed speeding in their direction. It's truly a one-in-a-million horse. This horse is extremely rare. It can only be found in the legends. I didn't expect Senior Lu to have a mount like this. Little Yuan said haughtily, "This is nothing. My master has many more mounts." Xia Chengxiu remembered Witzard and nodded in agreement. Little Yuan's words naturally sounded grating in Wang Shu's ears. She was always used to being the one who bragged in the past, but now, she had to listen to someone else brag. How could she not feel displeased? Nay. Ji Liang landed on the cloud platform before he trotted over to Lu Zhou. Lu Zhou pointed at the center of the platform and said, "Turn around." Ji Liang stood before the others and turned twice. Nia Qingyun pointed at Ji Liang and said, "The rear and the feet show signs of injuries. Someone must have healed it." It healed quite well. Those who had been on the battlefield could easily recognize a good horse when they saw one. The soldiers standing behind Wang Shizhong looked at Ji Liang with eyes shining with admiration. "Ji Liang, who else injured you?" Lu Zhou asked. "Is he talking to the horse?" Ji Liang seemed to understand Lu Zhou's words and neighed twice. Naturally, no one else understood it. Wang Shizhong said, "This is a misunderstanding. Shu is young, and she's a girl. How can she tame a horse like this? This is all a misunderstanding." At this moment, Kong, who was seated beside Lu Zhou, said, "Master, Ji Liang said that her men were the ones who heard it." Everyone turned to look at Kong. Wang Shizhong regarded Kong with a complicated gaze. He wanted to protest. After all, he did not think it was fair to point fingers based on one neigh from a horse. Lu Zhou, naturally, knew what was going through Wang Shizhong's mind. He said, "Kong is my disciple. She understands the tongue of beasts." The tongue of beasts? The others were shocked by the revelation. Xia Chengxiu was filled with praise. The ability to understand the tongue of beasts is a rare talent. I remember that in the Red Lotus domain, there was only one other person who possessed this talent over several millennia. Alas, that person died young and disappeared. The foreign tribesmen seem like they understand the tongue of beasts as well, but what they actually know are the methods to tame the beasts. Little Yuan said proudly, "Junior sister Conk, show them your ability." Conk raised the Lantian jade flute to her lips. A mellifluous melody filled the air in just an instant. The tune danced on the cloud platform and spread out to the surroundings. From the 12 peaks, the forests, the rivers, the skies, and the land, winged beasts and grounded beasts alike began to gather. Kong's primal chi surged as red energy flowed like water. When the winged beasts heard the sound, they flew over from afar. Their bodies blocked the skies as they arrived in groups. The Cloud Mountain disciples were shocked. How powerful would this ability be if it was used to attack a city? Although the beasts the young lady had summoned were weak, they could already see the bright future ahead of her. When she became a powerful cultivator, the beasts would be her most powerful helpers. Li Yunzhang was also stunned by this display. Having read many old books, he knew how powerful beasts could be. He knew how great a price humans had to pay to fend off the beasts. Soon after, the pleasant melody came to a stop after Kong ended the tune with a few rapid notes. The beasts scattered, and the sky was clear again. Unlike the sky, the atmosphere on the cloud platform was heavy. Lu Zhou looked at Wang Shizhong and said, "It's the father's sin for not disciplining the child." Wang Shizhong said, "Senior Lu, it's only a horse. I can gather all the good steed in Guanyi circuit and present them to you to atone for this matter." Yu Shangrong said disapprovingly, "You underestimate Ji Liang." "Forgive me for being blunt, but to me, your life isn't even worth Ji Liang's life," Yu Shangrong said. "You?" Wang Shizhong had never been insulted in such a manner before. "Why must you force me into a corner?" "I have always been reasonable," Lu Zhou said tonelessly, "you or her. Pick one."